All right. Let's get this baby going. I know that music's a little bit too loud. What's up? Let me get my comments turned on. There we go. Let's see. I can't. I can. I can never remember what I pick. I can't remember what I pick. Is it this one? I think it's this one. I think so. I don't know. Thank you for hopping in. Appreciate you. If the music's probably a little bit too loud, let me turn it down. All right. We're going to be talking about, did Bryan Kohberger have help? Which is, it's kind of interesting that out of all people, Rosie and I kind of talked about it on our last show. Out of all people, Howard Bloom is really like going heavy on this the second killer, which is just very odd because he was one of the biggest guilters when it came to Bryan Kohberger. Like when me and Rosie were talking, like I was saying, from when we tried to read his book, like, how can you even put yourself in the back seat of the Kohberger's vehicle on the trip back from Washington to Pennsylvania? Oh, he was the one that's it. Right there. But this is the thing, though, right? This is like out of any of them, he was the one that was going on here and going on there and here and there and here and there. The dude was everywhere. He was going to places where anybody was willing to listen to him just so he could promote this theory based on his investigation. Now, as far as I know, he hasn't had any more investigation going on since, like, in the beginning, right? Because, he was out there, he was talking to, as Steve G says, the sources in the prosecution, the leaks. I already told you who the leaks was a long time ago. I still think it's him. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it's him. I don't know. It just, all the signs point to it and always have. But it's just kind of interesting. He was going to anybody that was willing to have him on, so he could just sit there and promote the same narrative that he was promoting from the very beginning. And really, when you boil it all down, it was the same narrative that the police were pushing. He's going to come out. Yes, I know this, and I know this, and I know this. No, it's like I said when I went out there on my year anniversary trip out there to Moscow. When I was out there and I got to experience Moscow, right? The same exact 1 year later, the same exact time period that the crime took place, I got to experience Moscow for a whole week, and I was there all week. That's when I started, like, I was talking to everybody. I was talking to Washington State students. I was talking to the University of Idaho students. I was going around talking to the people working at the stores, to the people working at the restaurants, to the people walking down the damn street. I talked to everybody. When I would go to get crackers at Walmart or something, hey, what do you think? Do you feel? I'm just talking. And I'm telling you right now, the community, they Like they were so open on both sides. On both sides. Like it was a shock to me. It was kind of a culture shock because they were so down to all of them. They were so down to earth and they just, if they felt like you were that, like people thought I was obviously from there, right? So they just would talk to you. They would just talk to you. I wouldn't go there ever. Trust me, I'm never going there again. I went there and I had a whole bunch of work to do. I did it. I got footage. I did all my stuff. I got it all done. I couldn't wait to get back home. I was so freaking like, you don't know how on edge I felt the whole time I was out there. So on edge, man. Because you can't really explain it. When you go out there, it's like a claustrophobic feeling. Okay? It's like a claustrophobic feeling. It's like when you go somewhere and there's like right now you're 100% oxygen, right? It's like you go there and the air is so thick with, how do you even explain it? Like you can literally feel it. It's claustrophobic. You can feel the bubble. There we go. You can feel the bubble. Like you can feel it because you got two little towns and trust me, I'll even show. I got footage of me driving up there and back, not even in Moscow and Pullman, and it's just rolling hills of nothing forever, forever. So you're literally two towns in the middle of rolling hills and nothing for miles. You literally feel maybe if you flew into Moscow or something, you might feel a little different because you get the city feeling already. But when you're traveling from out of town, because I had to stay out, there was no lodging. I had to stay out of town. I had to literally drive a couple hours just to get there to work there. Spent a lot of time there, trust me, days and nights in Moscow. But experiencing all of the stuff a couple hours away of just an hour and a half, 2 hours of rolling. It's beautiful. Trust me. You got rolling hills. You got mountains in the background. When I was there, the week of November, 11/8 to 11/15 of 2023 is when I went there. You had little caps on the mountains, little snow caps starting on them. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. But I experienced that couple hours of nothing but rolling hills and one long ass freaking highway and just nothing. And then all of a sudden, whoop, here's Pullman, whoop, here's Moscow. Little teeny towns. Don't take you long to drive around. But I'm telling you right now, as I started to talk to the people, I started to hear some honesty about what it was like there, right? Yeah. Listen, man, you might as well just do it how they want you to do it. Otherwise, you're just gonna get harassed. Like it's literally do it our way or you're gonna pay. It really is. And as I was driving through there, I noticed that, you know, the community wasn't getting taken care of like they should get taken care of with all the money that the University of Idaho makes or did make back then. And it was sad to see because it's like, dang, yeah, this university makes a ton of money, but they really, I mean, they they act like they, you know, are taking care. No, these people don't get taken care of. You know what I mean? And the thing is it's such a small town that when, say you were talking about Judy, you were talking about Judy and what she did last Saturday, and all of a sudden, guess what? Half the damn neighborhood knows the next day that you talked about Judy. It's claustrophobic. It really is. Everybody knows your business. Everybody talks behind your back. Nice to your face. It's crazy. But they've kind of been in the church. There's a lot of influence with the church too, Christine. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. You can compare it to the Amish. And the reason I say that is because if you don't agree with how the church wants you to do what they want you to do, your family cuts you off. It's like the Amish. Okay, if you want to go out there in the free world, if you want to go out there in the sinner's paradise, then we can't talk to you no more. It's wild. It's wild. Thank you so much, Kib Kitty, for the 5 gift memberships. I got a little thing here. Let me see if it works. I don't know if it will. Let me see. All right, we got this little thing popping up. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Faces all covered up there. Appreciate it very much. I also threw a couple in there as well. Okay, how do I change this? Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. But yeah, so it's very claustrophobic there. Very claustrophobic. And what's up, Leslie and Billy? Caddy. And Yoli, what's up? Sorry, scrolling up there. It's not showing me very many comments because I'm streaming to Facebook too. But so anyway, it's just kind of interesting because back to the Bloom stuff. It's kind of interesting because he was the one that was really promoting like crazy about it being Kohberger. It was only Kohberger. This is how we did this, based on the evidence, based on his investigation, based on, you know what I mean? He's sitting there for the last few years, 2.5 years. He's been spitting the same thing, spitting the same thing about his investigation. The people that he knows close to the investigation, his work, all of these different things. And it's all about how everything that they're saying, everything the prosecution is saying is exactly what's going on. And then the plea deal happens. The plea deal happens. He starts to examine all the paperwork, all the court documents, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. I kind of agree with all these people that have been questioning this stuff all this time because it's been no surprise about a second killer to any of us because from the very beginning we thought that it probably could be a second killer. Now, when it comes to what he says, the reason is based off of what Dr. Brent Turvey is discussing, and I'm going to share some little gems for you about Dr. Brent Turvey. But when it comes to what he's discussing and what Howard Bloom is discussing about how it had to be simultaneous about Ethan and Xana, I don't really think so. Just like the whole posed conversation, and I put a highlight video out, it's the latest video under my video tab section of how I think the killer, because there's a lot of talk about Maddie and Kaylee being, quote, posed, right? I don't think so either. So I explained how the posed would maybe make somebody think that, but at the same time, I gave you a scenario, a reenactment that gives that appearance to somebody that doesn't know that maybe the crime went down like this against Kaylee. Because that's from what I was told a few weeks after the crime took place, when people were reaching out about the drugs and Xana, and that's when we got bashed in the very beginning in the late 2022, early 2023, because how dare we bring up drugs? Well, sorry, just talking realistic. Now you see the toxicology. Hello? Hello? That's a lot of egg to eat, you know? For real. Because we got bashed like crazy. Because I said, well, I'm hearing that drugs were... This is a pretty poppin' thing. I mean, it wasn't known for being a popular house. You know what I'm saying? And that, trust me, when I heard that, I was with somebody that had no idea what was going on with this case. And I just said, oh my gosh, after all this time, finally, the truth. Finally, it gets revealed. And they're, what are you talking about? And I said, oh, nothing. Way back in the beginning of this case, I was talking about drugs being involved. And man, did we get bashed like crazy. So many people talking shit, just making up lies and all this stuff about us just because they couldn't stand the fact that I mentioned drugs. And I'm like, this is what I'm hearing from people were reaching out to me, just like somebody was reaching out to me in the very beginning about, hey, man, I'm hearing that maybe there was a shower that took place and that's why it was so long for the delay. If anybody's been with us that long, we're bringing you back. Just like the multiple people theory. Think about the beginning of 2023. That's when we started discussing multiple people. December 2022, the first few months really of 2023, discussing multiple people. How dare we discuss multiple people? There's more bashing. There's more bashing. How dare I have a problem with the roommates waiting 8 hours to call 911, not only wait 8 hours to call 911, but have to call 911 when a friend of theirs says, hey, maybe you should call 911. Oh, I should call 911? Yeah, you should call 911. Okay. Got bashed again from the very beginning. Look what's come out. You see the crime scene photos. Everybody, go look at your interior doors right now. Go look at them. Go look at the closest one to you. Do you see a little gap? Guess what was all around over there? Wood linoleum floors. You know what? You know what's under that gap on that door? Wood linoleum. You know what that does? Sound travels. When you see the crime scene photos and you see all the blood, you see all of the brutality that took place right in that vicinity of that frickin' door that had a gap that big, and you're gonna tell me now, after these crime scene photos show you the truth, you're gonna tell me now that nobody heard that? Especially Dylan? These court documents are saying so much, and they needed to, because, man, especially when it comes to the drugs, man, we really got bashed on that. We really got bashed on that. But it ain't no lie now, is it? It's the damn truth. Now, when it comes to Ethan, okay, I already explained how a killer, where their motivation comes from, how they would get satisfied without the sexual contact, how they would want to inflict, make sure that person's up, make sure, just like the injuries I was told a few weeks after the crime took place, hey, CJ, you know how somebody's face looks like this? Her face looked like this. And I was like, whoa. Somebody didn't want to make Kaylee look pretty anymore. That's why I've always felt that she was a target from the beginning. She's back in town for a couple days. What's up, Cynthia, on Facebook? She's back in town for a couple days. Did that stuff happen to Ethan, Xana, Maddie? No. Kaylee. They didn't want to make Kaylee look pretty ever again. I hate to be honest. So when it comes to Ethan and how it had to be simultaneous, right? Because that's what's out there now. That's what's been out there now. First, it was second killer. We're going to go into that stuff. Simultaneous. Now, simultaneous. It had to be simultaneous with Xana and Ethan. Had to be help. Had to be. I've explained how one person could do this. You, again, toxicology. You saw the toxicology. There was a lot of alcohol content. There was a lot of alcohol. A lot of alcohol in the blood. A lot of alcohol in the blood. Some of them 2-3 times the legal limit. Like, holy hell. One person could pull this off. One person in booties? No. Not one person in booties. Not happening. Maybe upstairs and they can slowly walk down the linoleum. They can slowly walk down the linoleum and then do a little surprise and the other, maybe in some booties. When they're chasing Xana downstairs into her room, no, somebody in booties is not. Xana's getting in her room and she's going to be able to shut the door if somebody's wearing booties. Think about the blood on the floor. Think about the blood that would be on the booties already from being up in that room. You're telling me you guys saw the crime scene photos. You saw the linoleum fake wood all over. That means as soon as he runs out of the bedroom, guess what? Linoleum with booties. And then you're going to run down linoleum stairs one way and then do a turn and then go another way and then run through a small doorway that has a table with a bunch of cups, and you're gonna somehow grab her before she can make the frickin' room all the way in booties? No, I don't think so. It's not happening. So maybe that's why there would be two people. Because two people with booties, hey, we're talking now. Two people with booties, we're talking. We're talking. That's no problem. One person's on the second floor, another person's on the third floor. Nobody's running on linoleum. Nobody's making sharp turns in booties on linoleum, chasing after somebody in tights. It's not, no. That would be why I would think there would be multiple people. Not because Ethan and Xana were simultaneously attacked. Here's how they weren't simultaneously attacked. You saw the toxicology of Ethan. He was pretty drunk. He was pretty drunk. Okay? He wasn't used to taking Addies. Xana was. Ethan was an occasional, once in a while. It got worse as their relationship progressed. I'm just sorry if you don't like what I'm saying. Xana was used to it. Even though she was intoxicated, she was pretty aware. Ethan, he was past the F out. Okay? He was past the F out. So when it comes to whatever happened, right? Because I don't believe the whole booty running through the stairs. I really... Come on, y'all have had to have had hospital booties, regular booties. Come on now. Y'all, like, we've been on this planet long enough, a lot of us. I think most of us have had some booties on once in our life here. Okay? What happens when you got booties? Whoa, whoa. Yes, you almost slip. You can literally slide down the floor like you're surfing. But the person hit Xana, obviously, because you see the crime scene photos, you see where it starts, you see how it went down. But you got Ethan in there passed out. For somebody to sit there and go, I don't see how Ethan would just sit there and let somebody attack his girlfriend without getting up. Well, how about you entertain the thought that the dude was passed out drunk And the dude hit Xana a couple times where she fell to the ground whimpering. Hello, remember the audio? Hello? And they went up to Ethan. Listen, we've heard the injuries on his legs. I'm going to tell you something I heard again in the first few weeks after the crime took place. And I've said it since then. His damn legs were... That dude ain't going nowhere. Hello? The dude ain't going nowhere. Yes, that's going to wake him up. Do you think that he's going to be able to jump up? No, he ain't going to be able to even freaking move his damn legs. What do you... And as soon as he wakes up, he's going to be grabbing whatever his hands are on, going, ah! It's not that the dude was just sitting back watching his girlfriend getting attacked, so it had to be a second person. No. The person hit Xana a few times. She fell down whimpering because it hurt. What the hell do you think, man? And then he walked up to Ethan when he was laying on the bed and he went slice, slice, and then started hitting him and then went back. Like, what are we talking about? That is no reason that there's a second person. But you're going to hear that. But that's why I feel that there wasn't. That's not a reason for me to say that there was a second person, because from the very beginning it's been automatic. Hit Xana, she fell down whimpering, and then he went after Ethan, slice on the legs, and then started to attack upstairs, and then went back. Because he knew he hit Xana good enough where she wasn't going to be able to come back up and fight him too much. So he had time to go take care of the biggest threat that he just discovered was there. What's up, Amy? Because honestly, like I said from the very beginning, Kaylee was the target. Maddie was just... Like, if Kaylee was by herself, I guarantee you it would have just been Kaylee. I guarantee you. The only reason that he had to take out Maddie and the others was because of other... Number one, Maddie, because she was in the same room. He knew that they were in the same room together because that was the only light that was on until every one of them shut off, and he knew when it was go time. So he knew both of them are in the room. He knew that Maddie was crazy intoxicated. Okay, my main target was Kaylee, but at least she ain't going to be that much of a fight because of how intoxicated she is, because I saw her stumbling. And I bet you if Xana wouldn't have came upstairs, he probably wouldn't have frickin' came, because I still feel that the person left from the third floor balcony, that, you know, we don't have any idea of how the person left the scene of the crime. Yeah, you know why? Because they entered through the third story balcony, got into the sliding glass doors, which nobody's going to check because there's a curtain covering them. And who's going to look to make sure nobody broke in their sliding glass door on the third floor at 2:00 in the morning? Nobody. The curtain's just going to be covered up. He had his kit right there. He had his change of stuff. Then he put his stuff on. He walked in, did what he was supposed to do, and then came back into that got his stuff, and walked back out the third floor sliding glass door. Why? Because that's the only spot that he knew for sure that might not have any blood on it and wouldn't have any blood on it for sure, is that third floor. Kaylee's room, the room where he entered, wasn't going to have nothing because nobody was in it. And when he left, wasn't going to have nothing because nobody was in it. It's the perfect way to enter and exit. And I'm sorry, how many people think that somebody's going to come through that door, especially college students? Probably not many. They're just going to leave it unlocked. I mean, hell, you heard the officers when they showed up. When the officers showed up, they said, "Hey, look, there's no stairs on this balcony." They even were saying, "Wow, there's no stairs." Yeah. But to a criminal, that's an opportunity, especially when you see the elevated slope of the dirt back there and then the landscape blocks that you can use to stack one on top of the other and lunge yourself up on that balcony. The person's probably not even going to think about locking the door. And most of the time, they might not even check it because, hell, half the time, people are coming in and out anyway. There's your no sign of forced entry. Now, when it comes to the back door being unlocked and wide open, I think it was somebody that was still alive in that house that opened that door. Why? Because time had went by and they couldn't stand the smell. They couldn't stand the smell of that thick iron that then turns into some kind of toxic smell that they've never experienced before in their life. Couldn't handle the smell. Couldn't handle it. So, the only reason I see two people committing this crime is if both of them had booties. You know, I wanna say shout out to Rosie. She did put a little video together. If you don't mind, I'm gonna play it. It's about the booties. She shows you the booties. And really, there's no way that somebody wearing these is going to be running all over that linoleum. There's just no way impossible. It's not happening. Let me share this with you real quick. It's just a little 2-minute video that I'll play for you. Please go sub up, show some love to Rosie on this video. I think it's a perfect way just to show people, like, look, this is what he supposedly wore as he was running around this linoleum that had blood all over the place, and you saw the blood. It's a really bad attempt at cleaning up the crime scene. No, it's not a really bad attempt at cleaning up the crime scene. It's called booties wiping all over it. It looks like a towel wiped it, right? Hello, what does a wet booty do? It leaves the same marks, ladies and gentlemen. It leaves the same marks. Think about it. A wet booty is going to leave the same marks as a wet towel. They're both made of fiber. They both have little air pockets embedded in the fabric. You see those embedded air pockets creating the streaks of whatever is being wiped. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Have you ever hear 1122 had paint supplies there in plastic? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You look at the whole floors. Like, it's the majority of it is linoleum and wood. Even the molding, all of that stuff. But the thing is there's like a wax type coating on it, okay? And when you're trying to Just it's like you're sliding down the floor on socks, but it's not socks, it's booties. 911, those frats. Oh yeah, they did because Amy, when I went there, that's when I discovered that there was connections between the frats and the universities with the police department, the fire department, the EMS. It was all it's all interconnected. That's when I started seeing it. It took me going out there, and then I started to see all the interconnectedness and how, oh, so it's all, yeah, you are who you know, you are who you hang out with. Everybody ranks up and get rich together, and then they bash and squeeze out all the ones that don't want to go along with how they want to do it, because if you go along with how they want to do it, then that's how you get the prestige. That's how you get the money. That's how you get the notoriety. That's how you get the name, is by going along, getting along. Oh, thank you so much, Catho. Happy to be here and continue the support. Love to you, CJ. Too. Not so baby, right? Not so baby angel. By the way, if you weren't here towards the end of the show, I'm gonna throw up a little something for you. I made a little baby angel, evil, evil kitty, evil buddy little thing. And thank you so much, member for 21 months, Cathofish. Thank you so much. And also, let me give you the little confetti thing. Thank you so much. We got this. Thank you. Obviously, the contribution call out, and then we got this as well. And I thought I had some kind of is this it? There we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Now it's going to take me a minute to get back to here. There we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sorry, it's with this vertical stuff. It changes all of the layouts and stuff, and it's just you can't see nothing. You can't see nothing. Um, but anyway, the booty stuff. Let me show you the video. This is the only way I think there was two people. If both of them have booties, and honestly, the more that time goes by, the more that I think, the more that I think that that would be the most plausible reason, you know, because I really don't see anybody running around. You would have to have some kind of booties and protective. I mean, I would think you would have to have more than booties to not leave absolutely anything behind. I mean, besides the sheath, besides the sheath. Okay. I'm not talking about the sheath. I just one pair of booties, I don't know. Um I would still think I would still be nervous or afraid that something might even slip through that little mesh hole. You know, I would almost like if I was going to do it, I probably wouldn't I honestly probably even wouldn't wear mesh booties. I would probably wear the rubber slicks. So, I don't know if anybody knows what those are, but that's what I would wear because um like with rubber, at least you got more grip than you do a booty. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't even go in there with booties. So I mean, I was gonna say that I would put on like four pairs or something, but no, I would just get those rubber slicks that slip right over your shoes. Cause that right there, you have some rubber slicks, and honestly, it's not that hard at all. I don't know if anybody's ever used them before. Um, people that like People that work at car washes use them, stuff like that. So basically it's like a rubber it's like a rubber it's like a rubber casting. Here, let me look up a photo for you real quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's like a rubber slick that goes on your shoe. Here we go. Perfect. Right here. Okay, so why are these popping up? Okay, so let me share this with you. Okay, so whoops, wrong thing. Hold on. Can I get a bigger picture? All right, hold on. Okay, where did it go? Okay, here we go. Okay, so rubber slicks. Let me go. Let's go full. Okay, so you see these rubber slicks right here? This is what I'm talking about. And see, even like right here, water resistant shoe cover. It's like a shoe cover. So basically you slip, you can't see it. Hold on. Okay, something like, they're kind of like boots, but you just slip your shoes over them. Let me see, hold on. Let me see if I can just get a photo. Let me see here. Let's see, is this just a... Okay, hold on one second. Okay, I'm gonna have to save it. Hold on. Okay. So I'm gonna have to save it and then show the photo. Hold on. Oh, come on. All right, let me save it and let me open it up. And then I will display it so we can zoom in on it for you. Because this is I don't see them wearing booties. I see them wearing this. All right. This is something that would give you the grip to commit the crime. This is something that would give you the grip to commit the crime. Make sure that the blood doesn't get on you. Okay, make sure the blood doesn't get on you. You got plenty of grip. Yeah, on the vertical stream, it's just an audio podcast. So this is the 54-minute mark on the vertical stream. When you're trying to show stuff on the vertical stream, it doesn't show anything anyway. The damn screen is so small, it's like the size of a dime. So that's why we made it an audio podcast. But yeah, if you want to, come on. Or you can go to the 55-minute mark of the show and you can see the photo of the rubber slicks that I'm talking about. But basically, you can either slip your foot in them, or they make some where it's like a rubber coating, all right? That is an outline of a shoe or a boot. And all you do is you just slip your shoe in there. And literally, if you got a pair of like Dickies, right? Dickies, and then you got something to go, above that, shoot. some hospital staff might wear them. I mean, honestly, like so they have this kind and they have the kind. So you got see how you have like this cloth right here. So these are meant for the people that don't have the shoes to go in them. You take the cloth away, okay? You take the cloth away and they make some that's just the rubber outline of it, and your shoe actually slides in there, and then you just pull the back. You see, that's why it's got this thing right there too. You just pull the back up, and then it basically locks into your shoe. And then when you want to take them off, you just peel back this part and then flip it around. And so it, like, when you peel it off, it almost folds in on itself. And it honestly, if a killer wanted to contain blood that got on their feet or their, I would see them probably using that too, because really, you take those things off, they flip inside out when you take them off. So that's even better. Closed up contaminant, but you have all that grip too. So I don't even think the person even wore booties. Now, if one person was wearing these things, I could see them running on the linoleum. I could see them running from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor. I could definitely see them catching up with Xana before she got into her bedroom. All the way. With these, I can definitely see one person doing it. With booties, I just don't think so. I don't. So we got Howard Bloom discussing this. I'm going to show you the video that Rosie did, and that's the booties that they're talking about. So you see what I'm telling you, the killer. I'm almost guaranteed they wore these things, not no damn booties. You're asking for trouble. I mean, you're asking for trouble wearing booties to you're just asking for trouble. You're gonna slip and you're gonna fall. You're gonna slip and you're gonna fall. It's just how it is. I mean, you almost do walking around regular with booties anyway. Of course it's gonna happen when you're in the heat of running around trying to catch up with somebody. All right, this is the link. This is a little highlight that Rosie made when we did our show. Is it going to let me share it? When we did our show a couple days ago. This is the booty that they're trying to say, and it's just not happening. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. All right, I'll zoom this in full screen. Here, I'll drop the link for the video. Go sub up to Rosie, show her some love, and there it is right there. This is not me talking tonight. This is me talking during the show when I actually do say something. So here's the link. Go sub up to her, show her some love, and thank you for being here. In Xana's room, measured tape straight above their words, maybe from a shoe or something. That were mainly theater staff. I mean, yeah, because they don't want to get the goo on their shoes, of course. Yeah, this is Rosie from the other day, her explaining the booty stuff here, and this is what they supposedly wore.
When I was reading the documents from Turvey, he was asking about the footprints, and then the state's response, I forgot the name of their expert, was saying no, but obviously he wore like these protective covers and stuff, and that's what a lot of people are saying. So I wanted to show you guys how thin they actually are, because like this is what goes over your foot, right? I mean, it's almost transparent. So this would have definitely still left those footprints. They just, like she said, they just wouldn't have had those grooves in.
Right.
But it's literally just this. Like this is not the miracle solution that they're talking about.
No, and at the same time, somebody that's running around on linoleum and wood floors with blood on them is going to be slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yes.
So if they're literally running down steps, think about it. You have blood. Forget the blood. Even if you don't have blood on the floor, you're running up and down stairs and through doorways on linoleum and wood floors with booties at high speeds that change direction at any time. And you're going to tell me that this person was wearing booties? I'm sorry, this person would have fallen. Xana probably could have got to her room and shut the door. I'm sorry. I don't see how somebody in booties is able to maneuver like that in a crime scene. I just don't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, I mean, this
I
is
just don't
just
see it.
to keep the scene clean when you're investigating it so that you don't bring stuff in on your shoes. It's
Right.
not to like stop footprints.
It's a mesh. It's a mesh.
Right.
It's breathable. It's got holes in it. Like it's not like a cover. It's just a
Yeah.
mesh. A mesh. Yeah, to make sure that you're not tracking anything onto something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody that's worn them, I mean, literally, you can put them on and you can slide on floors like you're skiing. Again, I don't see how somebody, I don't see how somebody could maneuver in a crime scene with booties on. No. And we're going to be checking out this Howard Bloom interview here in a second on Megyn Kelly. And this is him kind of discussing the second killer, the whole, now that after the plea deal, it just makes me crazy. It's like you keep talking about your investigation, Howard. You keep talking about your investigation, but why didn't your investigation tell you this stuff back then? Because none of the evidence has changed. The only thing that has changed is the narrative. The only thing that has changed is what was once told and now what is seen with the documents, the interviews, the transcripts, the autopsy reports. I mean, crime scene photos. Two different stories. Two different stories. So if his investigation led him to think now that it could be multiple people, the evidence never changed. That's why we've always questioned the same evidence, because it never changed. The only thing that changed is what was being told. Now it's kind of interesting how mainstream media is kind of picking up on it too. Because now there's a lot of mainstream media discussing the whole second killer, alternate perp, accomplice, and it's kind of crazy, like when it comes to an accomplice. I don't know. There's just somebody that really supports him to a point where it's psychotic. And I've just sat back and wondered the last couple days, I wonder if this person was anywhere close to Pullman in Moscow when the crime took place. You may know who I'm talking about. You may not. If you do, bonus for you. If you don't, Sorry, but I won't. Uh, but if you know who I'm talking about, it just the fascination with knives, the fascination with guns, the psychotic mentality, the unwavering support, the threats against people that really didn't even harm him personally, the verbal attacking of other people just because one doesn't agree from that. I mean, it's just weird, you know. There's been a lot of this second killer head, you know, and I'm just like, you know, was this a thing where back then one of them was putting out stuff on the internet, chat groups, message boards, hello, and another one was like, shut the F up, the smarter one, the one that had the knowledge, the training, the schooling was like, shut the hell up, and you had the wild card. That was a loose cannon. But the smart guy knew that the loose cannon was dependable and effective. It wouldn't say shit. Took the chance. The job needs done, right? Then Kober asks, does anybody else get arrested? All of a sudden takes a plea before the trial's about to start when he can roll the dice and have a really good chance of walking out a free man. But instead, right before trial comes out, right before the facts come out, right before the truth will be put on display, I'm going to put a halt to it and I'm just going to accept fate. Why? Did you all make a pact? If you get caught, don't say shit. If I get caught, I won't say shit. I don't know, man. It just makes me think. I'm just like, I just sat back even today. I'm just like, man. I just kept looking at his face. Kept looking at his face, and I'm just like, could you? Could you be? Crazy shit. All right. We're going to watch that video. This is Howard Bloom on Megyn Kelly discussing the second killer. Then I'm going to switch to a little bit of Bryanette. And Bryanette had a really interesting video yesterday, to say the least. He did a two-parter. One, he talked a little bit about Dr. Brent Turvey. We kind of discussed him a little bit in our last live with Rosie. He talked a little bit about Brent Turvey. And then the Gonsalves family joined, and oh my God. I was actually going to watch that tonight, but I am not going to watch that tonight. I am going to save that for Thursday because if you haven't seen it yet, you're obviously, I'm going to be sharing the link for the video. We're just going to check out a certain part of it tonight. And Thursday night, we're going to watch the interview with the Gonsalves family on this same video. But they, you know, I do have to say this before we get to the rest of the show here. I do have to say this. I appreciate them questioning and calling out Bill Thompson and the judge. It's something that we've done this whole time. Can we agree? It's something that we've done this whole time. I don't understand, again, just like Howard Bloom, I don't understand how now you're going to support this. You're going to support this, second killer theory, just like the G fam. Now you're really gonna raise some issues about Bill Thompson and the judge. And when you hear what the issues are, these aren't issues that happened at the plea deal. These are issues that ended and finally became a volcano at the plea deal. But these are things that were happening throughout time. You got to remember, he was getting frustrated from the very beginning. If you didn't see any of them interviews from the very beginning, he was getting very frustrated. Very frustrated. I don't understand why they didn't do it before. I don't understand why, in the very beginning, the last couple weeks of November, the first week of December, because about a 3-week period, Steve G and Olivia, they were some sleuthers, man. They were some sleuthers. They were digging up so much stuff way faster than the cops were. They were. They were amazing. I was like, holy hell. And it was great because I saw myself doing the same thing that Steve was doing. Listen, if you ain't trying to find the person that killed then I'm going to do it. I saw that, like, man, if this ever happened to me, that's what I would be doing right there, what he's doing. And I'm talking the last couple weeks of November 2022, the first week of December 2022, until he said, I need to be quiet. I'm supposed to step back. I wouldn't have. Because I honestly feel like Steve was really, like, him and Olivia, they were getting to the truth. They were getting there. Like, they were on a freight train, and all of a sudden they were halted. And ever since then, it's been one way, no way, just one way, no other way. And, all the support, there'd be little bits here and there where you would hear little slide comments and stuff, but nothing crazy. And now, oh my gosh, the stuff that was being said, not only about us content creators here on YouTube, like that right there, the stuff that was being said, I was just like, dude, how are you even saying this about people that you don't even know? Like, it was some verbally abusive shit, man. I'm just sitting there going, damn, I wonder how he talks to his kids when he's mad at them. Like some fucking vile shit. Bill Thompson, the judge, content creators on social platforms. Like, I was just like, that's why we're not watching it tonight. Cause I'm like, and I don't know, we might not ever watch it, honestly, because I'm going to tell you this, just like I told you a minute ago. I'm going to say, why didn't you say this shit 6 months ago, bro? Why didn't you say this shit a year ago, bro? Why didn't you say this shit a year and a half ago, bro? Why? Why not? Why are you saying it now? just like Howard Bloom. Why are you saying second killer now when the last 2.5 freaking years to you it was based on my investigation? It's one person and he did it. Okay. Okay. But I'm hearing the tone and I'm hearing the vileness of venom that is just spewed in particular directions, and I'm just like, dude, dude. And I'm not even, it'll upset me. I already know it'll, because I'm sitting there listening to it earlier and I was like, well, I know I ain't including this in part of my show tonight because I'm probably gonna get a little pissed off at what he's saying. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm just like, because when you direct it at certain people, you don't even know, and it's like, dude, who the fuck are you to sit there and say that stuff about other people? So then you have to sit there and go, damn, if you're willing to go on a social media platform that Brian Enton is going to be viewed, we'll see how many views it has. It's got to be viewed freaking tons. And you're cool with saying all that stuff about all those people? Bro, that's on tape forever. Your actions are on tape forever. Like, it's crazy. So when we get to that part, it's in the same link. It's just you get to a certain part and we are going to stop it when we get to that part because I want to just focus on some of the stuff that he is talking about when it comes to Turvey. We do have some gems for you. Now, I don't know if any of you know this, and you probably don't, but Turvey has his own YouTube channel, and he's had it for a long time. It only has 100 and some subs. And it's him. It's his shit. You'll see what I'm saying. It's him. It's his stuff. And it even has an interview from him from like years ago where he was like a baby face dude. It's crazy. All right. So we're going to get to this Megyn Kelly. This is again Howard Bloom. Isn't it, Amy? Like, I was like, I just sat there and I'm like, because he first goes into Thompson and the judge, and I'm just like, I get where you're coming from, bro, but where were you 6 months ago? Where were you a year ago? Where were you a year and a half ago, bro? Like, where were you, bro? Like, he's spitting. I'm gonna admit, Steve is spitting out some real shit when it comes to Bill Thompson, the judge. Dude, I can't believe you're saying that about a judge, period. Yes, Christine, you got to listen to it. Like, I could not believe he was saying that. And he didn't just say Judge Hitler. He said judges, plural. He literally freaking said judges, plural. He clumped them all. Like, you can listen to it. It's not like he just slip of the tongue added an S on judge. No, this dude was clumping all judges together. And I'm just like, I cannot believe you are saying this about any judge. I could not believe you were saying this to any judge. It's wild. The Bill Thompson stuff, I get it. But because he had a lot of, I mean, it's all stuff we've been saying this whole time. Like, dude, you're not about the victims. And he spells it out, and it's all stuff that's true. Bill Thompson was not about the victims. The judge, on the other hand, bro, the judge is just following Idaho law, bro. Like, bro, I can't believe he went there, and he didn't just go there. He like literally threw gasoline all over it and lit 10 matches and threw them on it. Like that's, I'm not lying. That's how, and then after that, then he starts talking about content creators and on social media. I mean, and then I'm just like, that's when I'm just like, dude, I'm not even gonna show that part tonight. Nope, not gonna do it. And I might not. I might not on Thursday. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I probably won't, honestly, because I'll just share the link with you guys and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I tell you what, we'll have a call-in show about it, all right? Tell me what you think of that episode. Oh, that would be some conversation. Oh my gosh. All right. Howard Bloom on Megyn Kelly. Let me put this up here real quick. Let me see here. Let me put this up here real quick. This is Megan. Oh, regular. There we go. Is that better? Probably. I don't know. This is Megyn Kelly, and this is Howard Bloom discussing the two killer theory. If you're just joining the show, I talked about how I think they could be a two killer, not based off of simultaneous Ethan and Xana getting attacked at the same time. No, it's called they hit Xana a couple good times where she fell down, she whimpered, and he went right up to Ethan and slice right on the legs, and then was able to. Because as soon as Ethan wakes up, he's not going to be even thinking about. He's going to be thinking about his calves. That's just what I was hearing from the very beginning, the first few weeks after the crime took place. Just like all the other stuff. And has it not turned out to be true? Yeah, it has. Damn straight. It's crazy. 3.5 years later, and you finally find out that the stuff you were being told from back then is actually freaking true. I wonder what all those people that bashed me all that time back then think now. Interesting. Howard Bloom, plea deal's done. Now he's not the little guinea pig of Moscow PD. And now he can really tell you what he thinks. About time you're coming around to this, Howard. It's been a while since you've been here. You just haven't been in the same room, and good to see you now finally.
We are back now with journalist Howard Bloom talking about Bryan Kohberger and why Howard believes now, having seen the crime scene photos and done some other investigation, that Bryan Kohberger may have had
Done some other investigation, whatever, dude. All that investigation that you did, so close to the investigation. And now his investigation that he's been doing recently leads into it. This is a joke. I'm sorry. Anybody that just thinks this dude is the shit, I feel sorry for you.
an accomplice. And more than that, that Bryan Kohberger may have been the accomplice to someone else. Now, Howard, one of the most interesting things that you raise in your piece, positing this possibility, is you harken back to the moment Kohberger was taken into custody. And
Wait a minute. So does he think? Because, whoa, okay. Okay, so this is something that we discussed. This is something that we discussed in early 2023. We discussed Kohberger. We discussed Kohberger being a guinea pig. We discussed Kohberger being a guinea pig as in you were supposed to be here and you thought that you were going to help, but really, we just needed your car to show up. Now, and this was before this is early 2023, before any of these documents, before the no blood trace of victims found in the car. All of this stuff has come out, right? Crime scene photos. So the one thing that a lot of us can agree on right now is that, does it not appear that the crime took longer than 9 minutes, right? The crime, the cleanup, all of that. Yeah. What only lasted for 9 minutes? Kohberger's vehicle. So you know how the crime can take longer than 9 minutes? But really, you think it only took 9 minutes? Because the person that drove through the neighborhood parked and waited for the other guy to show up, because we're supposed to do this together. I wait 9 minutes for the other guy to show up, and I finally just take off. Why would I be driving around all these different times? I don't know, wait to see if, where's my buddy? We were supposed to do this tonight. Meanwhile, the buddy is going to do it. And like we brought up back then in 2023, this is Bryan's knife sheath. Now, Bryan is the one driving his car all up and down that road. I'll just stick this, right? How does the sheath look? The sheath looks like somebody just pushed it right up in between the comforters. I'm just going to stick this right here. I already know that Bryan's car is on these cameras because he was supposed to meet me. And funny, I didn't drive. So it makes me wonder, when it comes to Mr. Bloom's investigation on maybe Kohberger maybe not have been numero uno on the depth chart for the crime. I want to hear what this is, because listen, back then it was just a theory, okay? Back in January, February, March of 2023, it was just a theory. But now, the crime scene photos, yeah, there's no way this took 9 minutes. And cleanup and all this activity. No DNA found in the vehicle of the victims whatsoever. The only DNA or trace that was left behind was just a sheath. It sounds more and more that somebody was a guinea pig. Interesting. Let's see what Howard Bloom has to say.
Been the accomplice to someone else. Now, Howard, one of the most interesting things that you raise in your piece, positing this possibility, is you harken back to the moment Kohberger was taken into custody, and one of the few public statements that he made on the record about this case, and the very first question he asked the investigators when he was arrested.
Yes. On the night of Kohberger's arrest in his parents' house in Pennsylvania, he's put up in zip ties. His parents and one of his sisters are put in zip ties by the police. He's taken out to a state trooper's car. He's put in the back seat. And the first thing he says to the state trooper is, "Was anyone else arrested?" And at the time, no one really paid too much attention to this. We thought he was being the dutiful son concerned about his parents or his sister. But now, in retrospect, when you look at all the other aspects of the case, when you look at what occurred that night, whether one man could have done it, this question, has a more ominous echo. Was anyone else arrested? It raises a possibility that someone else is out there right now. And we go to the...
It really is an odd question when you think about it. If Kohberger, we know he committed the crime, but let's assume if he had done it totally by himself with no accomplice, why would that be the first question you asked investigators?
Yeah, it certainly is a troubling one. And there's more evidence that makes this question...
Okay, so he already knew. He already knew this from the very beginning. So this is investigation that you recently did, Bloom, to discover. And I hope you have more organization than that. Look at your damn drawers, bro. You got a dresser. Your desk is a mess, dude. And then the drawers are like open with a bunch of junk in them, dude. Oh, my Lord. What a mess.
Even eerier. On the knife sheath, which we know has Kohberger's DNA on it, a little bit of touch DNA on the button snap. That was a cornerstone of the state's case against him. But there now is, according to the documents that have been released, there's unknown Y DNA on it, a speck of that. Y DNA is male DNA. They say in the documents that they ran it against Kohberger, they ran it against other males who had been in the house and been suspects, and they could not identify it. What they didn't...
Wait, on the knife sheath?
Yes, on the knife sheath, this bit of DNA. What they didn't do is compare this little...
Yeah, because according to Payne, it would have deleted... I think he said... What did he say? It would have deleted or removed all of the work that they have done already. And I'm like, what kind of police department is this? You can only solve one case at a time? Like Barney Fife? Like what? Yeah, we could only... Oh, okay. So, hey, guess what, people? If you want to be a killer, do it in a group. Because then they can only bust one of you, basically. Like, that is such a joke. The fact that they didn't do they didn't have anything. Oh, well, it was in a spot that none of the crimes took place, and so it was not really plausible that it would have been somebody that's... Well, you don't know. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to check and exhaust all avenues and mark every box with a check and, do your due diligence because, aren't you doing it for the justice for all? You take the job on because you want to make sure that loved ones get their justice, victims get their justice. Yeah, you want to make sure you want to make sure. So you do the DNA. And so you're going to tell me that, because I could, maybe Moscow PD, maybe their little teeny lab, maybe their little teeny lab or whatever they think they might have can only do It can only process one document at a time. The computer don't. But ISP, WSU, like all these. So, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So okay. So you're telling me that you were able to get a profile off of touch DNA, but you weren't able to get a profile off of blood DNA? Now, how does that make sense? You're not able to get a profile off of blood DNA, but you are off of touch DNA. Okay, that does not make sense. Let's listen to Bloom's investigation of recent times. What they didn't do is compare it, and they didn't. Barney Fife, it's true. Barney Fife shit, man. Can you imagine if we could only like you can only do one thing at a time. That's it. And all you could do is talk. Don't move your arm. Don't move your arm. All you can do is talk. Come on now. Come on now. How stupid are we?
Maybe it's too small. I don't know why they didn't do this, but they didn't compare it.
It was blood, bro. It was blood DNA. Blood DNA. They were able to come up with a profile on OJ. And we're talking like what? 30 freaking years ago? 30 years ago, they could come up with a profile of OJ. But now all of a sudden in 2026, we can't come up with blood sample DNA. And why is that? Because our system can only handle one at a time. We have to finish that one, then we have to hurry up and start on the next one, and then Jimmy might need it. Who knows? Yeah, give me a break.
To the blood samples they had found previously, which they never investigated, on the handrail and on a glove outside. Sometimes you don't ask questions because you don't want to know the answers. When I was, talking.
It's a good quote, but damn, dude.
To people in law enforcement about this theory. Many people didn't want to talk, but one person who's very knowledgeable about the case wound up telling me, said, look, this case is all wrapped up. We wanted it to go away, and now it's going away.
See, this is what they've wanted this is what we were saying the whole time. Look, quit asking questions. Look, man, we finally got somebody arrested. We did it right before the semester started. All the stuff we were saying in the beginning. And look, man, just let it be. Just like all the other people asking questions. Trust us when we get to trial. Right? How many times did Bill Thompson tell the families that? Trust us. Trust us. When we get to trial, you'll see everything. No. They even told him, stop asking questions. See, this is when you know when he's telling you the truth. Because do you see what he just said right here? He started it off with saying sometimes you don't ask the questions you don't want to know the answers to. He said somebody close to the case wound up telling me and said, look, this case is all wrapped up.
We wanted it to go away, and now it's going away.
We wanted it to go away, and now it's going away. The questions that he's talking about right now, I guarantee you, are the same questions he was bringing up at the end of December 2023. And that's when they said this to him. And that's when he started to go with their little freaking narrative, because you know what? He sold out. This dude sold the hell out. Instead of continuing to pressure, because listen, this isn't new investigation. She may think it is. And shout out to Megyn Kelly. Love her show. Love her show. Loved her from when she was on Fox. Never stopped watching. But this right here, this is what you're seeing Bloom ask these questions that he was asking back then, and he was told, look. And then he said, oh, okay, I'm going to take the notoriety over what I really think. He became a sellout. He sold out. And now that the plea is over, now that he doesn't have anything to do with these inside leakers, because is there any benefit for either of them to know each other anymore? No, there's not. I guarantee they cut him off. And he's been sitting here going, damn, what's going on? And now he already understands, yep, I'm no longer part of this gravy train. Okay, let me go ahead and tell the truth. Let me go ahead and ask the questions that I was asking a long time ago, but instead, this is what I was told.
We wanted it to go away, and now it's going away, and we're not going to poke into it anymore. But there's a lot of things that we don't know and will never know. The question.
See, they're telling you there's a lot of things we don't know either, but we're hearing it from the top. Who was at the top? It wasn't Chief Fry. Chief Fry had that puppet master. The person at the top was President Green. President Green is the one saying, we need this wrapped up. We got it wrapped up. Don't ask no questions. Why in the hell do you think President Green was at all the damn press conferences standing up there like he's FBI, like he's Moscow PD, like he's Idaho State Police? He wasn't none of that. But he sure was standing up there every press conference. Fake crying. Right up next to ISP, Moscow PD. What a sellout, man. And you know, it's sad. It's sad that he had to make up all of that shit in his book like it was part of an investigation. He already done told the tidbits that he could tell you. He didn't have anything new, so he had to embellish to make it interesting, to make people buy it, because he wasn't getting nothing. I guarantee you the Moscow PD probably looked at him and was like, I can see the kind of things they were probably saying behind this dude's back. Can you believe this guy? He'll believe anything. And he keeps asking questions, and we're not going to tell him shit. He's just going to be our little guinea pig. When we need something to get out there, when we need somebody to show up on one of these news channels to say something, we'll pick him. It's just like Court TV does with Gray Hughes. When they just need a filler and they just need somebody to say something, they get the guinea pig. Hey, piece of shit, can you show up in 5 minutes? No. Real Court TV appointments happen a day, 2 days ahead of time. It's not, hey, piece of shit, can you show up in 5 minutes? That's the same thing with him. Now he's asking the questions that should have been asked and should have been brought up a long time ago. I don't understand why they weren't, because how can anybody, as you know, I was doing the same damn work, boots on the ground, investigating things, talking to people, and if I felt a certain way, I'm not going to sit there and retreat back from what I really feel so I can just be somebody's bitch. It's crazy. Crazy.
Is, do the Idaho state taxpayers, do the public, do the families want to leave those questions hanging out there?
Right. I mean, if it's true, there's another vicious serial killer roaming free. So it seems worth a question or two. We have now come to understand, per People magazine, that the defense had hired a forensic criminologist named Dr. Brent Tarvey, who was going to testify for the defense if this case had gone to trial. And this guy, now obviously he's hired by the defense to try to get Bryan Kohberger off the hook, so we take it with a serious grain of salt, but he is raising in this draft testimony that People got its hands on some similar questions. And here are a few of them as outlined by the magazine. They say that he argued that one killer could not have contained, for example, both Ethan Chapin and his girlfriend, Xana Kernodle, or render the two different types of lethal force used on Kaylee Gonsalves. Because we know the killer killed Kaylee and Madison first, we believe, on the 3rd floor. And Kaylee fought for her life. And Kaylee had a broken nose and many injuries about the face, which we were told.
Hello. Like I said, I was told from the beginning, it looked like this, CJ. And then it was like this. The killer didn't want Kaylee to look pretty anymore, and that's why Kaylee was the target. Like I've been saying from the beginning.
Were defensive wounds, as she definitely tried to fight him. And it was Kaylee's injuries that led the authorities at the presser after the plea to say, we believed he used a weapon other than a knife. And people were...
No, it's called he bashed her face in with the butt of the K-bar because he didn't want her to ever be pretty ever again. That's what he was jealous of. He was jealous of her beauty. That's where the passion came from in the crime. The passion started because he was attracted to her beauty, and then it became a problem. Butt of the weapon. Broken teeth, broken nose. So many facial injuries. I was told she wasn't even recognizable. That's what I was told back then. When they said this and this, not even recognizable. They wanted her to see, taste, touch, feel. They wanted her to see, taste, touch, feel. Who was doing it? Yeah. You got to check out that video in my video tab. I kind of explain. I mean, I pretty much explain. It's a little graphic too. I give you the scenario of what that person did to Kaylee.
Like, what? He said, like, there's two weapons. That was the first we heard. And then he kind of hedged a little, saying, we can't say for sure. Maybe, there was speculation, was it the butt of the knife? But it seemed to be some sort of blunt forced object to beat Kaylee. Forgive me, these are disturbing details, Howard.
I mean, these are questions that are raised and that they didn't follow up on. And then I find, from the moment they tore down the murder house, they wanted this case just to disappear. So many people...
Why is he... Dude, this is the stuff we've been saying this whole time before they even tore down the house. We were saying it 2 weeks after Kohberger's arrest when we started reading the affidavit for Brett Payne. We were like, what? This is... How did... And now he says this. Dude, you really did sell out, bro. Oh my gosh. All of those shows that he was on promoting that agenda. And it's like I told you guys, he's asking the questions from the very beginning, and he was told, he told you already. You don't, he started it off. You don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to. And I was told, look, this case is wrapped up. It needs to be wrapped up. Yes, some things don't make sense, but don't go poking. So then he shut the hell up, regurgitated everything the officers wanted him to say just so he could stay close. Bro, they used your dumbass. They used your dumbass. And that's the sad thing. These dudes are up in the middle of nowhere in frickin' Idaho and have no idea. And bro, you've been around big city after big city after big city, Bloom, and you didn't even see that? That's where integrity comes in. That's when you're a journalist, just like Megyn Kelly. I know she can agree with this. It's called integrity. And the fact that it's coming to light now that you were just a guinea pig. And dude, why are you even saying this now? You had all of this time. What did they give you that for 3 years you could have been holding them to the fire before? What is this doing now where he's coming out saying this stuff? What is it doing now? Nothing. It's not going to do anything. Dude, you were close to the people investigating this case. You could have made a change. They did play him like a fiddle, Caddy. He could have made a change. He could have, you know what I mean? He could have inspired that one Moscow PD, that one ISP officer, that one agent. He could have inspired one of them to go, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Or he could have inspired them to go, hey, there's a lot of people that if he's asking these questions, there's a lot of people asking these questions. Maybe we need to, right, change it up a little bit. Dang, that's so sad. That's so sad, Mr. Bloom. And then all the people that were suckered into this guy. So not only he was suckered into MPD and he was suckered into the whole narrative, but all the people that had him on were suckered into that whole narrative as well. And now with this episode, you're hearing the narrative that should have been spoke 3 years ago. Congratulations, Megyn Kelly. At least you got him to talk about this.
You know, from the moment they tore down the murder house, they wanted this case just to disappear. So many people involved in the case have just wanted to move on. The original police chief couldn't wait to quit his job and move on. The original judge couldn't wait to retire. They tear down, again, the murder house, as I said, and then they're able, just over a course of a weekend, a single weekend, after 3 years nearly of legal wrangling, to just settle things without demanding an allocution, without trying to say, we want the answers. They say, well, Kohberger would never tell us the truth. Well, either he will tell you where the murder weapon is, or he won't. It's pretty cut and dry to ask that question and get a clear answer. He will be able to tell you how he knew the young women involved, or he didn't. Why they did this, I don't understand.
They had cards to play and they refused to play them. I want to go back to this guy, Dr. Brent Tarvey, because he's raising other good questions along the lines of yours. I mentioned, so we're looking at the injuries on Kaylee, who we now know because they've released the number of stab wounds each victim received. Kaylee received 38. Xana, poor Xana, she was the one who was awake, received more than 67 stab wounds. Madison Mogan, 28. And Ethan Chapin, 17. And he was asking questions about how could Ethan have been killed with Xana. Like he said, it is not reasonable to think that Ethan would have remained in his bed after waking up or being awake while Xana was being attacked in front of him. This evidence and context begin to suggest the existence of a second attacker. Ethan and Xana appear to have been attacked at the same time. So it's inconsistent with the state's theory that these crimes were committed solely by one individual. But Howard, isn't it possible that Bryan Kohberger could have attacked Ethan first, killed him, and then killed Xana? Because you would think he would take out the man before, going after the woman.
It's possible, but the way it's been reconstructed now and the way I understand the events is that Xana was literally going up the stairs because she heard the commotion in the third floor bedroom, and then she was going down, and Kohberger chased her and then immobilized her. Then he dealt with Ethan, and then she was killed. That's the way it's been explained to me.
See, just like I said earlier, chase Xana, stuck her to where she fell down whimpering and didn't finish her. It's like I broke down the scenario at the beginning of the show. The reason why this is not wearing hospital booties, yes, that would be, there would have to be more than one person, especially on linoleum floors running up, sharp angles turning up. No, you're falling. You're not catching Xana. But it's not simultaneous. It's called, I'm chasing after Xana. I get her in the back, hit her in the lung. Hello. What is going to make somebody fall to the ground and have a hard time trying to get up to fight you back? You hit them in the frickin' lung. What do they need their lung for? They need their lung to breathe. You hit them in their lung. They fall down. They're immobilized. They whimper because they can still breathe. They just can't breathe as good. Then you walk up to Ethan, slice. He can't move even if he does get up. He just woke up because I sliced him. And then I'm going to finish him off, and then I'm going to go back, hit Xana, finish her off. One person can definitely do that. It does not. So that is one thing that I do disagree with, because I'm sorry, you hit somebody in the lungs. It's like, and then how many times she was stabbed? It wasn't just once. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to him, and then she probably got a lot of them because she was the one actually running from him and made him deviate from what he had even thought that he was going to have to do. And so he had to give her a little extra, like he gave Kaylee a little extra, because now she ruined his little moment. She ruined his moment with Kaylee.
Bedroom, and then she was going down, and Kohberger chased her and then immobilized her. Then he dealt with Ethan, and then she was killed. That's the way it's been explained to me. But also, Ethan is 6'4". He was a big guy. He was a basketball star in high school, an athlete. It's sort of hard to believe. Also, the house was dark. There are two different floors. There's a long staircase. It takes time to.
Bro, they have night lights all over. And what I mean by night lights is little LED lights, Christmas lights, LED strips. They have little teeny lights in every freaking room, bro. This was not a dark house. They all had neon little teeny LED lights, dude, just in different forms. This was not a dark house. This was not a dark house. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And I don't care. You can be 6'4". You can be a basketball player. You can be whatever the F you want to be. But if somebody cuts your damn legs, you ain't moving nowhere. And if somebody cuts your damn legs in the middle of a drunken sleep, you're not going to be waking up going, Hey, my girlfriend's getting attacked. Let me go save her. No, you're going to be waking up screaming your freaking life. And then you're going to be hit some more after you wake up. You ain't going to have time, Howard. That they need to stop minimizing Ethan. It's pissing me off. That's why I had to start the whole show about it's like, no. Quit minimizing Ethan. It already a little teeny bit. The documents, that's real talk documents. This right here. He's 6'4". He's a basketball player. He's a dude, stop it. You could be the Incredible Hulk, and if the Incredible Hulk gets his calf sliced, the Incredible Hulk ain't that incredible, is he? I hope he don't go into it more, because I haven't listened to this interview. I just saw the title of it, and I'm like, yeah, I know he's been saying this. Not this whole interview. I saw like a 2-minute clip or something.
Move around, how all this could happen.
This is a good one. This is a 16-minute clip. Shout out to Megan Kelly. She got him to say all this. Here's the link for it. And show her some love. 16, almost 17-minute interview. But yeah, I this is just, he just needs to, it didn't happen that way, dude. We already told you how it happened. That's how it happened. Nobody at all, and I hope nobody does. Nobody needs to minimize Ethan. Ethan was passed out, drunk as fuck. Probably to the point where you literally had to like pour water on his face just to get him to wake up. And then he was attacked in the middle of his sleep. Don't dare sit there and say, well, if he didn't get up to help her out, that means no, stop it.
And by one person, I just don't see it. Just
could have been wearing a headlamp. I don't know. He wasn't seen. With the witness who saw him, the roommate Dylan who saw him, did not say he had a headlamp on. However,
she said she had some device, like maybe a vacuum cleaner. She said at one point. But let's go back to these two surviving witnesses.
What's the point of bringing up the vacuum cleaner? She's pissed. She's like, dude, I'm trying to get past all this mumbo. Let's get to the gizzards.
They're victims too. This is horrible for them. And yet at the same time, there's a lot we don't know, a lot we don't understand that raises troubling questions. And it's exacerbated by the fact that when we read the interviews, they keep on changing their story. There's no coherent, consistent storyline through all their interviews with the authorities. And
well, one of the questions is where are the bloody footprints? I guess there were not a ton of bloody footprints all over these pictures or the murder scene, Howard. And the question is, who cleaned them up? Or like, let's say Bryan Kohberger was wearing head to toe covering, including booties. Well, those booties would have made footprints. They wouldn't have had treads on them, but they would have made bloody footprints. And if he took off the booties immediately after the murders, he would have had to step through blood. There was so much blood. So either way, there should be bloody footprints. And this is, again, one of the things this Brent Tarvey was pointing out. There's an absence of bloody footwear patterns.
Well, plus you have white patterns, like somebody did a horrible job cleaning up. What do you think they probably did? Wiped it up. They did a horrible job cleaning up. Why? Because they were only there for 9 minutes. They are not wearing booties. I'm telling you, they are not wearing booties. If there's two people, one person on the second floor, another person on the third floor, yeah, they're wearing booties. You're not, but between the third floor and the second floor, chasing after somebody, turning around, wood floor, linoleum, slipping, sliding, liquid. No, it ain't happening. It's not happening. They did not wear booties.
At the scene in general.
It's a very important question. There's this 8-hour gap between the Kohberger or the assassin being spotted by Dylan Mortensen, and then they're calling the police. The house during that period looks very much as if it were cleaned up. The blood, the footprints is not there. If you look at the picture of the knife sheath on the bed, it looks like it's been arranged. Did the police do that? Or was it done by someone else? These are questions that I think should be answered. And I think the defense could have raised this issue of an accomplice, but again, they settled. Why did Kohberger settle so quickly? What was he trying to protect? Did he have enough of a relationship with someone that he would want to protect them? Again, well,
they'd know if he had a relationship with somebody. That would be all over his phone. There'd be eyewitnesses to that. We'd know if he were dating somebody or communicating with somebody.
We do know he was.
No, he wiped a lot of his stuff. I mean, he knew how to do it. That's why they had such a hard time trying to find anything, is because he knew how to wipe his shit. He wiped his shit. Like, he wiped it. So no, not necessarily. They don't, not everything's guaranteed. Like, how do you think people end up working for them? Is because they find ways to go beyond what they can do, and they're like, damn, well, you committed a crime, but you can come work with us now because now you can show us how to do that. I mean,
sort of dating with someone. He did have I spoke with her, someone involved a foreign student involved in the program at WSU in the criminal justice program. And you know, it was known in certain circles. They would say, "Oh, she has a Kohberger." That's how they sort of made fun of her at the time, or mocked her. That was her boyfriend. And there's more we're learning about Kohberger. The question is, he cleaned his phone. I think one theory would be that he wants to have the last laugh. Why did he settle? He knew he was doomed, but this is this one secret he can hold on to that will give him strength to survive, because he knows something that we don't know. And why the prosecution did not press to get these issues resolved, to get answers, is something that I still find troubling.
It is. I mean, when you think about it, it's the thing that troubled everybody from the beginning. And we didn't know that there were 150 total stab wounds in the beginning. We just knew that 4 people were killed in a very short time. But it's down to about 9 minutes. 150 stab wounds. It's not gunshot. It's stabbing somebody, stabbing for somebody's over the course of 9 minutes, from different room to different room, to struggles. At least 2 fought for their lives. That would have gone on. And again, the absence of some bloody evidence that we would have expected. Yeah, I mean, these really are very good questions. And then his question, was anyone else arrested? But we're never going to know, right? Unless he gives an interview to that criminologist, Dr. Catherine Rumler, from his undergrad program.
Right, or he writes a book, or he talks,
everything
his sister decides to write a book, which is perhaps happening, or maybe something will come out. I don't think conspiracies can be buried forever, but we're still looking into other old conspiracies that have lingered for generations. So I'm going to poke around a bit more into it. I'm getting some leads to follow. Maybe they're dead ends, but I think it's important to raise these hypotheses. I mean, the search for truth is the search for greater theories. And
now he's a noble warrior. Now he is a noble warrior trying to find the truth. Dude, you should have been saying this stuff for years, dude. And now that they cut you off, now there's no more ass for you to kiss. So now you can bring up the questions that you've had the whole time. It's sad to sell out. That's very sad. Yeah. All right. So let me see. What do we got? We got a couple minutes left. We'll see what else he says. I don't know. It's just more of the stuff that we've been asking the whole time, other than the second killer, which that's just not. He's 6'4". He was a basketball player. That's your reason for there had to be another killer. I'm okay, cool. But all this other stuff, this is stuff that we've already been asking and questioning this whole time. And even while he's giving his interviews on all these other platforms, you know, and they're getting fooled while he's getting fooled. And it's like, what about everything you said already back then when you did your investigation? New leads? There's no new leads. You're just looking at the court documents like every one of us. And we're sitting here asking even more questions about how they didn't call 911 for 8 hours when you see the brutality that happened right outside her door. Like, how did you not hear your friend on the second floor getting chased down and stabbed 68 fucking times. You're going to tell me that you didn't hear any of that with that crack that's under your door that has, you can literally see if the light's on in the kitchen or not just from the bottom of your door. And you're going to tell me you didn't hear Xana getting stabbed 68 frickin' times right in front of your door. Yeah. It's not new leads. It's the court documents that are coming out. Because we're all asking even, the same questions he has, but we're just asking way beyond that because we've been asking that question in the very beginning. Now it kind of goes up to here and 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 to here. Like it has evolved over time what we're questioning and asking. And now this dude's a noble warrior.
I'm looking at new theories.
Very important. Correction,
theories.
Catherine Ramsland. Catherine Rumler is the general counsel, or well, she's high up at Goldman Sachs now, but she used to be a Jeffrey Epstein advisor, which she doesn't want us to talk about now. But you were, madam. You're all over the documents. And I saw you. I heard you myself on audio tapes advising him. So deal with that. Okay. Now there's a report out that Bryan Kohberger may be getting transferred. The prison's denying it, but there are some sources saying, trust us.
All right. That's sources like Chris McDonough, who he already got egg on his face. The prison already came out right away and said, fat chance. It's not happening. They're not going to transfer somebody because he doesn't like their bananas. Okay. It's called get with it. You don't like it, deal with it. You don't do what you did in the first place and you wouldn't be here, So yeah, it's not happening. They're not going to do that shit. If they're not going to transfer somebody because they're like screaming and hollering, they're definitely not going to transfer somebody because they don't like their bananas. But yeah, it's not happening. It's funny because after the prison came out right away and said fat chance he's getting moved, there's no way in hell, and we're not even considering it. Then Chris McDonough, who, because he said, I got a source, I got a source close to the investigation that he was gonna get transferred, just like all this other shit. And you come to find out it's just a bunch of boo-hoo. It ain't. It ain't nothing. It's just a bunch of boo-hoos. Just a bunch of boo-hoos. Yeah, it ain't nothing. He's not getting moved. So then he comes out, well, if you look at the statistics, what I was saying, no, dude. You got busted. Oh my God. The clickbait is just so bad anymore on here. The people, like, it's just crazy what's going on out here in this YouTube world, man. You got like people trying to steal other people and all sorts of shit. It's crazy. All right, let me see here. We're going to switch to this Bryan interview. Let me pull this up for you. Now, this is more about Dr. Brent Turvey. I told you in the beginning of the show that I had some gems for you for Dr. Brent Turvey. I'm probably going to save those because I was going to do, and maybe I still will, I was going to do the G Family interview on Brian Nenton on Thursday night. But I kind of changed my mind after talking more about it with you guys earlier in the show. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to like take all this stuff and I'm going to take the Brent Turvey stuff and have that for the next show. And you're really going to be interested because not only you're going to see a couple clips and interviews of Brent Turvey, but there's a really good podcast, and I'm not talking about Sarge. Everybody knows about the Sarge podcast. There's a really good podcast that only 75 views know about. And it's a really good podcast with Dr. Brent Turvey, and he is talking basically about what we've been talking about the last couple shows. That's all I'm going to tell you. So, and it's a good one too. It's going to fill up a whole show. So, definitely stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. Trust me, because the conversation that we're going to be listening to is, oh my God. And nobody knows about it. And so I'm not saying shit until we do it. But it really does go along with everything that we've been discussing the last few shows. And it really ties into it. So when we're listening, it's one thing to see some court documents and kind of get an idea, but when you hear him explain all of the stuff that we're kind of discussing, not necessarily this crime, okay, but the inner workings, the science. You know what I'm saying? The science, the inner workings, the procedures, like this is how you figure out what you're figuring out. It's gonna be I've already listened to it. It's really, really freaking good. And so I'm just gonna save that because that's gonna be like, just that alone is like hour and a half, 2 hours. Just that alone is an hour and a half, probably 2 hours, hour and a half for sure, 2 hours just for that. So I definitely won't be able to fit it in tonight. There's just no way I'm going to be able to do that. It's just not happening. So I'm going to play this Brian Enton, and then we're going to switch it a little bit, and then I'm going to open up the phone calls if anybody does want to call. So if you're not familiar, I promoted live Discord. Here, let me flip this back over. I promoted live Discord calls. So the reason I did that is because, number one, whenever you're calling on any of these talk shows, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, a lot of the talk shows are all a phone number, and with the way people are nowadays, it's just freaking wild, the psychoticness of society, right? It's really dangerous for people nowadays. Just think about it. It's really dangerous nowadays when somebody even has your phone number, right? Now, I still have my phone number for the show that I promote, but that's not what we're doing anymore. When I came back, I wanted to make two things happen when it came to live calls. I wanted you guys to be able to call and not even have to worry that your personal phone number is coming through. Because let's be honest, there's been a lot of content creators out there that have made mistakes with this call-in stuff and accidentally shared their screen with phone numbers all over it. It's happened. Not only you don't even know who you're calling when it comes to these talk shows. You don't know what they are behind the scenes. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what their record is. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of these people on YouTube have criminal records. Anybody can paint a face. And so I wanted to make sure that when moving into the 2026, moving into a new era, I wanted people to have that sense of security, right? Because really nowadays, it's getting to a point where just the phone number. And so it's like, you know what? Even though it probably ain't going to be a thing, this is what I'm going to do from now on. We're going to take live calls. And it's very simple. You can do it just with your phone, but here's the cool part about it. You can talk to us on your computer, you can talk to us on your tablet, you can talk to us on your phone, you can talk to us on any of your devices that you have internet access to. All you have to do, you don't even have to go to the store and download. This is all you have to do is you just click on the link if you're interested sometime. All you have to do. And this link will constantly change every show. This link right here, there's a backstage. So I have a live call. I have a live call section. So whenever we're doing live calls, you'll see this pop up. So you'd basically click on the link dropped in chat, which I just did, and then that takes you to the backstage. So we have the live stage, which is a live stage, live call. You're on the phone. How you doing? Hey, what's going on? Live call. That's you. That's live stage. You click on the link because you go backstage. We have a backstage, and then then we have a list. Then we have an order. You don't have to sit there and wait and hope that you can try and call once that person hangs up. You literally get in a queue. So you can sit there and you can keep enjoying the show and you can watch and you can just sit there and hang on until it's, hey, yep, hey, this is you. Hey, what's good? Then so that's the benefit right there. You're not beep, 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 beep. You're not sitting there, okay, let me time this right. You're not doing none of that. You're in a queue. It's safe because it's just a Discord profile. It doesn't have your real phone number on there. It don't. So it's just a safer way for people to call. And also, whenever we do the live calls with Discord now, before it was just me. Any of the other times that we've done live calls the last 4 years, 3.5, 4 years of the show, we just took a how long of a break did I take? 6 months? 6-month break. Just came back. We done any of those times that we did live calls before then? Only I was able to be heard from the caller. So when I had guests on, I felt really bad because my guests, they would want to ask a question or they would want to say something and they couldn't be heard. So we worked out, we tweaked some things, we fine-tuned some things, and we have the availability to not only bring you the new safe way to call into these YouTube talk shows, but also we have it set up in a way now that when you're on a Discord call, you not only hear me, you can hear Rosie, you can hear Audrey, you can hear whoever else is on the show with us. You can hear them. So if we're all talking, you're having a conversation with everybody, not just me. And the people that are on the show, the panel guests, they have a lot of great questions too, and a lot of good dialogue and a lot of good conversation. And that gets to get highlighted too. So if one of these panel guests has a question, they get to ask the question. The caller gets that. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So that's what we're doing. I know most people might not even have it. They might not even have it. But that's just how we're going to be doing ours from now on, because I really eventually, unless they come out with another company that can kind of basically do this, I don't. I just see it getting to a point with YouTube where, you know, because think about it, you're calling these places and they got your phone number, man. It's crazy, and you don't even know what some of these people are capable of, and you're comfortable giving them your information like that, and you don't even know if you can trust them. That's not good. So I don't know. Do you guys think that there was a second killer? Do you really think that somebody in the booties could maneuver around the house like that? After all of this stuff has come out, after all of this stuff, oops, hold on. After all of this stuff has come out about the crime scene photos and the court documents and all this other stuff, I've really been asking myself a lot the last week. What was the exculpatory evidence that Bethany Funk had? And I wonder if we're ever going to get to find that out. It has to be somewhere. That paper has to be somewhere. What was the exculpatory evidence that Bethany Funk had that proved that Bryan Kohberger was not the person that committed this crime? All right, let me go to this Brian Enton video. Give me a second. Now he's going to be talking about Dr. Turvey. Hold on, what is this one? Oh, Joseph Scott Morgan. Hold on a second. Let's go to this one real quick. This is News Nation. And they're going to have Jesse Weber's going to have Joseph Scott Morgan. This dude is so awesome. Give me 1 second. Let's pull this up real quick. Let's see what he says. Let's see what Joseph Scott Morgan says about the two killer theory. I like this guy a lot. He's really good. Where's my... There we go. What the heck?
Earlier this week, we learned horrendous new details about the final moments of the 4 Idaho students that were savagely killed in their off-campus home back in 2022. The sheer number of stab wounds, more than 150 in total. It is horrible to think about. But these findings from newly released filings show where the defense may have wanted to go if there was a trial and Kohberger hadn't pled guilty. According to court filings that were obtained by People magazine, the defense had hired an expert forensic criminologist, Dr. Brent Tarvey. While the entire outline is under seal, Dr. Tarvey did say, and I quote, "At least 2 suspects were involved in this attack, 2 killers." He says that claim is based on the fact that Ethan Chapin never stood up or left bed during the attack, despite it appearing that he and Xana Kernodle were attacked at the same time. And we know that Xana had blood on her bare feet.
Well, let's be honest. They're part of the defense. They are going to argue whatever doesn't include the official story. That's part of the defense. No, it did not happen like that. Right? So you're going to, okay, the Ethan didn't stand up and there was another DNA profile on the stairs. Yeah, that's legitimate. That is, yeah, that's legitimate. But that's his job, is to argue the official narrative. So it's not like it's any shock or surprise that this dude is saying that it happened a different way. Of course, that's what he's supposed to say.
Dr. Harvey also points to the wounds that Kaylee Gonsalves received, mostly to her head, and the fact that, quote, multiple types of lethal force were used against her, seemingly meaning blunt force and sharp force injuries. Again, multiple attackers. And lastly, Dr. Harvey points to the short time frame that the perp, again, Bryan Kohberger, he's confessed to the crime, took to commit this crime, because Harvey says, quote, there is direct evidence of a cleanup based on bloody walls that have been diluted by an unknown substance, and also, quote, indirect evidence of a cleanup because of the lack of bloody shoe prints. So it must have taken more time. So what do we make of all this? Were there two people? This is where I bring in our own expert, a forensic analyst, expert death investigator, Joseph Scott Morgan, who also happens to be a distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University and the host of the Body Bags podcast, my good friend. I'm going to let you take it away, Joseph. Is there anything to this?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got a defense expert that's doing what defense experts do, and kudos to him. I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
they engaged him, because it certainly opened up the floor for conversation. Let's have one of those conversations. We begin to think about Xana and Ethan, this idea that Ethan never got up out of the bed. Well, maybe there was not an awareness. Remember, Xana had just been up and she had received a food delivery just minutes before. We saw evidence of that. I don't know if you saw those, but evidence of that. They had actually the containers pictured there on the counter, Jack in the Box, I believe it was. And you know, Ethan never left the bed. So how do we explain that? Well, one of the big questions here that I think a lot of us are dying to know at this point in time is toxicology. I want to know what the status was with whatever any of these victims.
3 times the legal limit, I think. Does anybody remember for sure? It was like 2-3 times the legal limit. And he's telling you, shout out Joseph Scott Morgan. I told you, this dude is awesome. He's telling you, yes, it's possible, but come on, man. He was drunk, passed out, and he woke up after he already got sliced a couple times, man. Come on.
Had on board at that particular time. Had Ethan had any substance like alcohol in his system where he was like in a deep sleep? He didn't have an awareness of this. You've got these just horrific injuries that are to Xana's body. She stabbed on multiple planes of her body, by the way, with a K-bar knife, which is in fact a combat knife that's been used by our brave Marines since World War II. All right. And this thing can be used not just for the purposes of stabbing, slicing, but also pummeling people. You can actually turn this thing around on the butt of it, and it makes one hell of a hammer. This thing weighs almost a pound. The blade is just over 7 inches in length. It's wide, and it is meant to kill people with.
Right. That's why I said he didn't use another freaking weapon. He turned it around and bashed her face in, like I was told 3 weeks after the crime took place. Because he didn't want to make her, he didn't want her to be pretty anymore forever. He had that control. That was his control. You'll never be pretty for anybody else ever again. I was told they couldn't even she wasn't even recognizable. That's how bad it was. Remember CJ? Yeah, it was.
You know, we've recently had the Reiner case. I think maybe a kitchen knife was used in that. It certainly doesn't marry up to
oh, thank you, Mama.
So just to be clear, that would explain why you could have different impacts of.
Yeah, they had definitely levels of Addy. Well, they called it amphetamine. Is what it's listed as, but yeah, it's bad. But dude was passed out. Come on. I don't like Howard Bloom's he's 6'4" and a basketball player. He should have got up. No, dude. They were liquored up, bro. Passed out.
On Kaylee, right? Blunt force.
Oh, yeah.
Force
Passed out.
Yeah, they teach a combat training course. The Marines have for years and years, where you can actually turn this thing on its side, hold it in your hand, pummel people this way. You can drive it down with the butt end of this thing, which you can also use as a hammer. And you can also use the blade, the utility of the blade. So this is not some passive little weapon. This guy came prepared.
So in other words, in your opinion, you believe one person could have killed all these 4 individuals with the amount of wounds, with this weapon. The cleanup, the idea of the cleanup, right? So that, he wouldn't have had time to stab them this many times, and if he believes there was a cleanup, and do that too in, what was it, 15 minutes? What do you think about that?
Yeah, what cleanup? I don't know what images they're looking at. I saw the images from the scene, and the kind of sparse images that I saw evidence of blood there. I didn't see wipes and swipes and all those things that we see commonly, where you're dragging some kind of element over the surface to try to clean it up. There was blood deposition everywhere. As far as this idea of diluted blood, I think that it's certainly an interesting question to raise. But I'm thinking about this, Jesse, and I'm thinking, well, did the police pick up on this? If you're saying that it's diluted, then that means that some kind of substance was used. Were those blood droplets tested in any way? Did they come up with some kind of compound that would have been used at that particular time?
Let me just say this, you said it very well. He's entitled to defense. He's entitled to call the experts who will help him. But This is also the same defendant who, 5 minutes before he pled guilty, was pointing the finger at 3 to 4 innocent people, and then decided to turn around and plead guilty. So let's just call that what it is. And I'll give you the final word. We got 20 seconds.
Well, I don't know. I look at this, Jesse, and you and I have covered this now for years, and I'm thinking, so you're telling me that a hit team came to Little Moscow, Idaho, a town of less than 30,000 people, and targeted these individuals. And why didn't they kill everybody else?
And it doesn't explain the DNA. It doesn't explain the...
Yeah, that's true. They don't leave any survivors. They don't leave any. So what he said is absolutely true. Like, if they're going to come there to do that, and they're not going to leave anybody behind. So no, there was one target. It was Kaylee. The goal was to get back at her and make sure that she saw who was doing what, because I'm sure she remembered who it was as soon as she was forced to see who was doing it to her. Because I think the dude made her look. Made her listen, made her watch, and then took the beauty away from her forever. And that was his power.
Cell phone evidence doesn't explain the surveillance footage, the eyewitness account. Joseph Scott Morgan, I love having you on. If there's anybody I trust you. Thanks so much for...
Yeah, he's the shit. All right, so let's go to this Bryan Enton video real quick, and then after the show you can just continue to watch it. It's that interview with the G family that I was discussing in the beginning of the show. The more and more that I think about it, I was going to show it tonight, then before the show I'm like, nah, I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till Thursday. All right, we'll wait till Thursday. The more that I'm thinking about it, I probably just won't. I will just probably skip it, honestly. You can watch it. You can see everything that I'm talking about. You can see where I'm coming from. And yeah, it's... it gets nuts, man. I'm just going to tell you that. It is some toxic shit going on. That's for sure. All right. This is the Bryan Enton video. Let me share this link with you. And we're going to watch like 15 minutes of it where he kind of discusses more of the Turvey stuff from his point of view. And then after that, then he has the G family on. And we will end the show when it gets to that point. And from now on, I'm going to be here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. But I might jump on, like if I'm bored tomorrow and I got all my stuff done and I don't have anything I need to work on, then I might hop on for a little while. But the for sure days from this point on are going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock. Fridays are going to be at 10. These are all central times. Fridays are going to be at 10. I might mix in a daytime show on Fridays. Saturdays, we're going to be doing shows Saturday mornings, and then Saturday nights will be kind of a we might not, if we do, maybe we'll talk conspiracies, stuff like that. And then the other days, by the way, the days that I am not on this show, I am over on at EvilleCJ TV. So if you're interested, just look up EvilleCJ TV and come hang out over there. I am going to be going over there tonight for a little bit after our show's done here. So if you want to continue to hang out, just go over there, sub up, and I'll be live a little bit after we are done here. I'll be hanging out over there for a little bit. All right, so this is Bryan. He's going to be talking about some of the things that come out recently in the documents, but he's going to be talking about Dr. Brent Turvey. Definitely come back for the one on Thursday, because man, that's going to be a good one with that interview with Dr. Brent Turvey, where he's talking about the processes and how it all works and how you come to your conclusions. And so when we're hearing all this stuff about Dr. Turvey and what he's stating in these documents, we kind of get a good background, I guess, on how he came to his conclusions based off of what he was taught and what he's teaching others. Yeah, Mama J, it's just Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday nights, Saturday morning, pretty much. But there will be a schedule on my YouTube channel once I get that updated. Let me see here. So we're going to go ahead and play this, and he is going to talk about the Turvey. And then, like I said, after that, that's where that really crazy ass interview takes place. And I'm sure you'll come away shocked as I was. I was like, wow, I cannot believe that these things were said. Like, this is crazy. All right, here we go.
I want to go through all of the newest documents that came out. These all came out as part of the judge slowly unsealing all of the records related to the case, to the Bryan Kohberger case. Remember, so much of it was under wraps. There was this gag order, and it was frustrating covering the whole thing because felt like every other record was sealed. But slowly, both sides have been reviewing the records, and they are becoming unsealed. So I went through the 155 pages and highlighted the things that I found the most interesting and that I thought were new. Keep in mind, there's a lot here from defense experts. There's two experts that I'm going to talk about here. There's Dr. Sutton, who's the prosecution expert, and then there's Dr. Turvey, who is the defense expert. And keep in mind, there's all sorts of defense theories, and it's interesting because we now know if there were a trial, what Bryan Kohberger's defense team would have presented. So that's interesting. But just keep in mind that, Bryan Kohberger did plead guilty. He admitted to doing this. I was in the courtroom when he admitted to this. And police have said that he's the only perpetrator. And again, he has admitted to it, and he's been sentenced to life behind bars without the possibility of parole. So just sort of keep that in mind as I go through these things, because I know there's so many people, not so many, but there's a lot of people out there. I think I said so many because they seem to get a lot of attention, but they call them the pro-burgers, who, don't believe that Bryan Kohberger is responsible and have been.
He said they call them the Kohbergers. Come on, dude.
Really zeroing in on a lot of these defense theories. But I just want to say again, Bryan Kohberger pled guilty, admitted to the crimes. He could have had a trial. He could have told his lawyer, I want to go to trial, and there would have been a trial, and he could have claimed that he was innocent, but he did not do that.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something important to remember as we go through all these new documents. First thing I want to start with is the details of the autopsies are now public. We knew that it was a brutal, just awful attack. But I guess, didn't realize just how brutal until I read through these details. And some of this stuff is difficult to listen to. I'm, of course, not going to show any of the crime scene photos. There were the new crime scene photos that were released, and that's something more that I'll talk to the Gonzalez's about. I don't really see the point in showing more of those photos. We showed them initially, but at this point, it's just, there's no point. So I'm not going to show any photos here, but I am going to read you through some of the injuries just because I think it shows the brutality of the crime in a way that we didn't really know before. So I'll start with Kaylee Gonzalez's autopsy. Cause of death, multiple sharp force injuries, which we knew that was the cause of death. What we didn't know is all of these details. So stab and incised wounds of the scalp, face, and neck. There were 24 plus of those. So over 24 stab wounds of the scalp, face, and neck. Stab wounds of the chest. There were 11. Just think about how many
the
times
face and the neck. You know what I mean?
Stabbed these kids.
Man,
24 to the scalp, face, and neck. 11 times to the chest. Stab wounds to the upper extremities. 3. Punctures of the outer table of the skull. Injuries to the teeth and tongue. Perforations of the subclavian artery and vein. Hemorrhage into the chest cavities. Blunt force injuries include scalp laceration, bleeding around the brain, nasal fracture, scrapes on the nose and cheeks, bruising around the eyes, patterned bruises extending across the lower face. There were hemorrhages in the eyes and mouth. And then the blood alcohol concentration was 0.107. So just a really, really disturbing amount of stab wounds on Kaylee Gonzalez. For Madison Mogen, again, the official cause of death was multiple sharp force injuries. Stab wounds to the scalp, face, and neck. There were 13. Stab wounds to the chest. There were 5. Wounds at the upper extremities. There were 10. Wounds on the lung and liver. There were perforations, the veins, artery, and blood vessels of the chest wall. Blood alcohol concentration on Maddie was 0.282. Also, there was an incision of the nasal septum. There was a perforation of the tongue. Oh gosh, and there was
the tongue
fluid in the lower airwaves. So that was Maddie. Xana Kernodle, again, official cause of death was multiple sharp force injuries. Stab and incised wounds of the scalp, face, and neck. There were 23. Stab wounds of the chest. There were 7. Stab wounds of the abdomen, there were 4. Puncture wounds to the back, there were 3. Wounds of the upper extremities, there were 25. Wounds of the lower extremities, 5. Punctures of the outer table of the skull. Perforations of the jugular vein, heart, lung, and pulmonary blood vessels. Hemorrhages into the chest cavities. Wounds extending into the bones of the right hand. Scrapes and bruise of the face, torso, and extremities. A blood alcohol concentration 0.229. Just awful. Ethan Chapin, again, the official cause of death was multiple sharp force injuries. Stab wounds of the scalp, face, and neck. There were 4. Stab wounds of the upper chest. There was 1. Incised wounds on the upper extremities, 6. Stab wounds of the lower extremities, 6. Perforations of the jugular vein, subclavian vein, and subclavian artery. So I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I mispronounced that before. Blood alcohol concentration of 0.122, amphetamine level 260 ng/ml. So all 4 of the victims had an unbelievable amount of stab wounds. And we knew this was a brutal crime, but I think when you hear that, you realize just how brutal and awful it was. They described the positioning of the bodies, which is interesting.
Especially
the bodies
where?
of Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogen were reportedly discovered in the bedroom assigned to Madison Mogen. Miss Mogen was located on the south side of the bed, closest to the closet opening, and Miss Gonzalez was located on the north side of the bed, closest to the wall. Both are covered with a beige comforter. A white fleece item, which appears to be a blanket, is lying at the foot of the bed. Madison Mogen and Kaylee Gonzalez are lying on their backs. Miss Gonzalez is partially lying on top of the right arm, right shoulder, and upper torso of Ms. Mogan as depicted in one of these photos, which is blacked out, obviously. The posture and proximity of the bodies of Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan can be visualized. When the comforter is removed, no blood is noted on the bottoms or tops of their feet, indicating that they were not upright or moving about the area after the bloodletting injuries were inflicted. So they weren't like standing up, walking around the room or trying to fight back, standing up. According to this, it appears they were just, in the laying down position. According to their respective autopsy reports, no bloodletting injuries were reported below the waist or on their backs of either Ms. Gonzalez or Ms. Mogan. The lack of blood on the front of her sleeping pants for Kaylee Gonzalez further supports the conclusion that Ms. Gonzalez never stood upright after the bloodletting injuries to her upper body were inflicted. So basically, there were a lot of theories that like a lot of fighting back or that Kaylee may have stood up in the room. According to this report, she never stood up. Then they talk about where the knife sheath was. The location of the brown object in the vicinity of the lower left back and or thigh of Madison Mogan is indicated by a yellow oval. The object was later identified as a brown knife sheath, and the back of the knife sheath is exposed. We've all seen pictures of the knife sheath by now. On the knife sheath, they found Kaylee Gonzalez DNA profile matches for Kaylee Gonzalez's DNA, Madison Mogan, and then DNA from Bryan Kohberger was identified on the front strap of the knife sheath, which I've obviously been reporting for a long time. That was really, I would argue, a piece of evidence. Obviously, there was the camera footage of his car coming and going. There was the cell phone data, but his DNA is on the knife sheath, which we knew, but I just want to reemphasize that again. So when it comes to Xana, this says that there was blood on the bottoms of her feet, and the observation indicates that Xana Kernodle was moving about and stepping into liquid blood after bloodletting injuries had occurred. So this is kind of disturbing to think about, but unlike with Kaylee and Maddie, where they're saying that there's no evidence that they stood up, for Xana, it's the opposite. This expert is claiming that it appears that she was stepping into liquid blood after the injuries had occurred. So Xana was with it enough to stand up. Although there is physical evidence to support that Ms. Kernodle was moving about within her bedroom, there is no physical evidence to indicate that she ever moved beyond this room once she was bleeding heavily. But again, it's still just sort of awful to think about the fact that she apparently was moving around the room and was with it enough to move around the room. So according to the prosecution's expert, there is no physical evidence to exclude a single perpetrator causing the death of these 4 individuals. So the prosecutor's expert says that there is no chance of more than one perpetrator, which is what police have said all along. You'll see in a second, the defense expert has a different theory on that. The comprehensive search of Bryan Kohberger's vehicle did not locate any blood or specific evidence in connection with the events that took place at 1122 King Road. So we knew that. They searched his car extensively. You've seen the pictures where they tore it all apart, and they found no evidence related back to the crimes. Same with his apartment in Washington at Washington State University.
Yeah.
What I go back to here is if anyone knew how to clean up a car and an apartment and to take precautions to make sure that there was no DNA or blood left behind, it would be Bryan Kohberger. He got his master's in criminology and he was getting his PhD in criminology. Where he got his master's in criminology in Pennsylvania, they have a whole like fake crime scene that they study, like a fake crime scene house. I know he was online for most of his classes. I don't know if he went in the fake crime scene house, but my point is, if anyone knew how to clean this up perfectly, it would have been Bryan Kohberger, which would explain why they didn't locate any blood or specific evidence in his car.
That's come on now. Come on now. Ain't nobody that good, man. Dude, this is like, you're talking minute particles that a human eye can't even see. to clean your car and your house to where they can't even find a particle that's not even visible to a naked eye? Come on now. Come on now. There's so many of those. When the crime takes place, there's a lot of particles. A lot of particles. And you couldn't find one in the car or the house. Like, I just, if anybody was that good, it was this guy. No, it's not. No, it's not. Nobody's that good, man. Nobody's that good.
Or in his apartment.
Nobody's
But that
that
came
good.
up here in some of these documents.
Nobody.
Regarding secondary footwear transfers, there are no visible footwear transfers associated with any of the possible exits from the scene. Even though it can be established that the perpetrator left the scene, they did so without leaving visible footwear transfer stains. Again, just something interesting to think about. They didn't find any footprints belonging to Bryan Kohberger. And
If it,
or at least visible football.
If anybody was that good, it was him. So you wouldn't even see his footprints. If anybody, it's him. Come on, man.
Footwear transfers is what they call them.
Come on.
Again, goes back to the guy knew how to pull this off. I mean, if it wasn't for him leaving behind the knife sheath, I would say it could have been the perfect crime. No, because of the surveillance video of him driving by in his own car. But still, I mean, he made a big mistake leaving behind that knife sheath. But you can tell through all of these documents how meticulous he was in other ways, not getting any blood in his car or apartment or cleaning it up perfectly, and then also no visible footwear transfers. So this is from Dr. Turvey, who is the defense expert. Says, the evidence suggests that after both victims were killed or unresponsive, they were posed in their shared bed. Kaylee was moved from a position with her head on her pillow to partially atop of Madison. Then the comforter was placed over them both. So the defense expert seems to believe that they were posed in the bed. There's been no evidence of that based on the police or investigators saying that. It says posing is a possibility, but not a determination that can be made to the exclusion of other explanations for their positioning. Dr. Turvey, who is the defense expert, says, this refers to intentionally arranging the scene for effect. In the present case, the bodies of Kaylee and Madison were posed together after the lethal attack suffered by both, and then they were covered together with a comforter. Kaylee was moved from a position with her head on her pillow to partially atop Madison.
This is again. The prosecution's gonna say this is the only way it could have happened, and the defense is going to say it didn't happen like this. That's their job. So it doesn't make sense when it comes to what they're, but you have to attribute it to it's just their job. What's up, Sammy? Yeah, that's goofy. They teach you statistics and crime trends and theories of crime, not how to commit the right. Not how to. I tell you, right? It's frustrating. It's yeah. If anybody was that good to clean blood so it didn't show up at their car that they used to leave the scene of the crime, or at their house where they went to after the crime was done, not even one particle. It's amazing. Ain't nobody that damn good. Nobody.
Again, that's just what the defense expert said. We don't know if they were actually posed, but this is the first time that I have heard sort of posing come up as a theory. This is the defense expert, I believe, that says indirect evidence includes the absence of bloody transfer from feet and hands, despite the movement of suspects within the home, the necessary opening of doors, and the absence of bloody footwear patterns at the scene in general. All of this would have required an excessive amount of time at the scene to clean, perhaps hours, which is inconsistent with the state's theory that these crimes were committed within a time frame interval less than 15 to 20 minutes. So the defense expert was going to argue that there's no way you could have done all of this in 15 to 20 minutes and done it all without leaving behind any evidence of, footwear stains, blood transfers, that kind of thing. Again, we know that Bryan Kohberger did it because he admitted to it. And in terms of how exactly he pulled it off so quickly and exactly which way he went in and out of the house, he's probably the only person that can really tell the full story of that. So we may never know.
He's the only person.
Dr. Turvey says it is not reasonable to think that Ethan would have remained in his bed after waking up or being awoke while Xana was being attacked in front of him. This evidence and context begin to suggest the existence of a second attacker. So Dr. Turvey, the expert for the defense, was going to bring up the idea of the possibility of a second attacker. Again, there's no evidence of a second attacker. Police have made clear there wasn't a second attacker. Bryan Kohberger has never said there was a second attacker and is the only person who admitted to these crimes. But it is interesting to see that this is something, if there had been a trial, that this would have been a theory that they would have brought up. At least 2 suspects were involved in this attack, Dr. Turvey says. This is indicated by the fact that multiple weapons were used against Kaylee, that multiple types of lethal force were used against Kaylee, and that Ethan and Xana appear to have been attacked at the same time. This is inconsistent with the state's theory that these crimes were committed solely by one individual. So if there had been a trial, it sounds like one of Ann Taylor's big theories here would have been that Bryan Kohberger could not have done it alone. Granted, we now know that he did, and we may never know exactly how he pulled it off, but he has admitted to it. So let's see, the knife sheath was staged. So then there's also this other debate about whether or not the knife sheath was staged where it was found. Dr. Turvey reports that the knife sheath was staged for the following reasons. Crime scene staging refers to an attempt to confuse or misdirect law enforcement. The sheath was found precariously placed just slightly under the body of Madison Mogen and partially covered by the comforter that was placed atop the midsection of her body by the suspect.
So not only they left the sheath, but they moved the comforter over the sheath, and then, oh, there's the sheath. I'll just leave it there. So they had time to cover up. Now, let's go back to remember in the beginning when the crime took place and they were talking about who was first. And I was like, yeah, but she didn't say that she saw him leaving, Dylan. She didn't say she saw him leaving. She said she saw him walking towards. I said, I think he went back upstairs to finish the job. If Xana came and freaked him out and he ran after her, do you think he went, oh, I better put this blanket down real quick before I go chase Xana? No. I think he went up to do the part to her face last. I already got her incapacitated. This Xana freaked me out. Dylan saw as he went back upstairs, finished what he was doing, and then laid the comforter over. Right where the sheath is at. Like, you saw the comforter. It's folded and kind of like squished up. And then you got it's like squished up, and then you got the knife sheath sitting on the bed. Like, it's right where the big bulk is. Like, hello, it's right next to it. Like, how are you gonna miss it? There's little night lights in there. How you gonna miss it? Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Could not have fallen accidentally into this location. So that's what Dr. Turvey says. And again, just an eye into what the defense may have been, that the bodies were staged, the knife sheath was staged, was Bryan Kohberger set up? Again, none of this, it's interesting to look back on for those of us who followed the case so closely, but none of it really matters now because Bryan Kohberger admitted to the crimes and he didn't have to do that. So I was there, I was in the courtroom when he confessed. Sutton, who is the expert for the prosecution, says the sheath could have become trapped under Madison Mogen's body when she moved her left leg out of the bed. If she were hurriedly moving her left leg, she would not have taken time to move the comforter, in which case the sheath would be trapped between the comforter and the bed. So that's sort of how
That's Paulette Sutton, by the way.
The prosecution was going to come back and combat that argument that the whole thing was staged, that the knife sheath.
See, yes, it happened exactly this way. No, it did not happen. That's what they're meant to create other avenues and possibilities. Why? What does that do? It creates doubt when it comes to the defense. What are you trying to do? You're trying to create doubt. Now, I think they already had the case in the bag. DNA dirty glove, creating doubt when it comes to the validity of the evidence and it not being contaminated. Well, it already got contaminated. So then can you trust the credibility of anything else that happened after that? No, you can't. They contaminated the personal protective equipment outside before they walked inside. The contamination already took place outside. So from before they even touched that door handle to go inside, it was already contaminated. Like, it was in the bag. The DNA dirty glove. And that's why I think the prosecution was so quick to get a plea and didn't even care about finding out any of the truth. Remember, you heard from the Gonsalves family. They said, well, we know it was talked about on a Friday, and they reached we got an email on Sunday. We reached out to them to get a response, and we didn't hear anything until Monday morning when they said, oh, we just got your email. We already sent it off already. There's a reason. Because they knew. If they couldn't get this, they knew. This DNA dirty gloves. You contaminated whatever evidence you were going to pick up, touch, photo. I mean, you contaminated your personal protective equipment. All of it. You not only contaminated it of the stuff you put in your pockets, but then you like doubled down and you grabbed every little piece of equipment out of your little bag that you were going to take. Oh, let me see this. Oh, let me see. Just touching everything. Touching it all. Touching it. You ruined any kind of chance. That's why I said, man, why would you? Because I can guarantee you, if Ann Taylor knew about the DNA dirty glove, I guarantee you Bryan Kohberger knew about the DNA dirty glove. I guarantee your whole freaking team knew about the DNA dirty glove, because when you see DNA dirty glove right before the crime scene gets, documented, you're like, whoa. How do we know none of this? How do we know none of this ended up on this evidence? Yeah, not happening. Here's the link for that the Brian Enton episode. Here's that. You can go watch that. Go to about the 20-minute mark, and you'll be able to see that interview with the Gonsalves family. I already gave you a warning for that. The DNA, yeah. I mean, seriously. I think that's why they were so eager, is because how are you going to argue that? How could you argue the DNA dirty glove? Especially when they're the ones that were touching everything. Photo, picking it up. Oh, is there any blood on the inside of this little strap of the knife sheath? Oh, maybe not. You can't trust it, especially with what they were, the the transferred DNA to get the profile, but you have blood DNA and you can't even get a profile? How does that make sense? You can get a profile off of touch DNA, but blood DNA, oh no. Our computer can only run one program at a time. My ass. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. We'll see you. I might sneak on tomorrow. I got a bunch of stuff I need to do, but depending on the weather, if it gets bad, I might just pop on for a little bit. I am going to be hanging over at my TV channel for a little bit here. In about 15, 20 minutes or so, be doing something on there. And then if we're not live tomorrow night over here, hey, what's up, Stone? I love your channel, by the way. By the way, go check her channel out too. Thank you for hopping in. Appreciate you. If I'm not here tomorrow night, I'll be back Thursday. Just wait. You're going to hear Dr. Brent Turvey in his own words explain how he gets to his conclusions. It's going to be a good one. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Love you guys. See you later. Come hang over at the TV channel if you want to keep hanging out. Otherwise, check out that video I dropped last night, explaining how I think the killer took out Kaylee and how it's not posed. It's more like, this is kind of how it went down. We'll see you guys later, either tonight over at TV channel, tomorrow if I see you with the wild hair, or on Thursday. Then we got shows Friday and Saturday. Rosie will be joining us too. Thank you so much. Steve G said last he was even. I know, Sammy, when I was gonna cover the interview. Yeah, if anybody's hopping in late, trust me, go to the beginning of this stream. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm just, call me a jerk, but I'm just going to say, when I see somebody talking that way about other people, like when you weren't just talking about Judge Hitler, bro, you were talking about judges in general. Like you weren't talking like the stuff that was being said. I'm just like, damn, I wonder how you talk to your damn kids when you're pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be a sweetheart, but damn, you get pissed off. When I got mad, let's sit down and talk. You know what I mean? Let's sit down and talk. Communication. You can sit there and bark and fight all you want. Communication. 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 But when you got somebody like popping off saying some stuff like that, I'm just like, damn, dude. What happened when you got pissed off at your kids, man? You gonna pop off at the mouth with some shit? Because some of the stuff that was said is like, you're not thinking clearly, are you, bro? Like, you're not even thinking ahead of time here. And when you don't think ahead of time, you do shit like that. You do shit like that. Alrighty. I love you guys. We'll see you later. If anybody does want to hop on panel in one of these shows, reach out to me. Just hit me up on my email or any of the social platforms. And we'll be having Rosie Friday night. And I think we're doing another autopsy crime scene on Friday night. Dr. Brent Tarvey special Thursday. Friday night, autopsy versus crime scene. Saturday morning, I think we might be covering a different case. Me and Rosie might be doing a different case on Saturday morning. So check that out. Might be back tomorrow. If not, I'm always at the TV channel on the days that I'm not over here. So if you just want to keep hanging out, come over there too. See you guys later. Love you. Hit the like, subscribe if you're not. And here is, I was told you guys I was going to give you a little evil buddy and evil kitty. They love you too. Show them some love too. Here you go. Evil buddy, evil kitty, hanging out, showing some love. Appreciate you. See y'all later. Stay safe. Stay warm, most importantly. And tell your loved ones that you love them, because you just never know. We hear so many crazy stories right now going on about the crap that's just so ugly in this world. Tell them you love them. I love you. We'll see you on the next one. Later, everybody.